Joining me now, someone with extensive experience coordinating large-scale disaster relief, retired Lieutenant General Russell Honore, who served as commander of Joint Task Force Katrina. Lieutenant, let's start with this big logistics question, something you've had experience with. You had experience with in the aftermath of Katrina. What is your reaction to hearing the news that we have this market, we've got these middlemen, and we've got the U.S. government and the U.S. Department of Defense facilitating this sort of private market full of middlemen and bidding wars?
Well, I always knew that the government would favor certain contractors, but I didn't know it was enabled by them. But based on what the Admiral said last night, I never knew in my 37 years in uniform that the government would facilitate private companies by bringing stuff, handing it over to them so they could sell it back at a higher, up to 7 times the price, to the states, for which we're giving the states the money to buy. And I've never heard of that before. And that thing Mr. Kushner mentioned, I don't believe he knows what the hell he's talking about. He's totally clueless as to what he's talking about.
General, it seems to me that there are significant logistical capacities within both the Department of Defense and the federal government broadly to take more of a leadership role in this very fraught supply chain right now. Is that correct in your estimation?
Absolutely. And the president reluctantly signed and reluctantly executed the Defense Production Act, which could have been working now for 7 or 8 days ago. He signed it reluctantly and then did not execute it. And now we've got U.S. companies who, during that period of time, did not make their products specifically to handle the problems in New York and New Orleans and Washington. They were selling it on the open market to the highest bidder. So we did not execute the Defense Logistic Act as it was intended to. And as a result of that, you've got U.S. companies, United States of America companies right here, bargaining on the open market for the highest bidder, and sometime outbidding FEMA, or in some cases, FEMA outbidding them. It is like a Saturday morning flea market trying to figure out how in the hell to get supplies. And it would be one thing, Chris, if the system was working. It's not working. The doctors and nurses across America, every morning and at night on the night shows, they're saying it's not working. And to stand up and defend it and say, we've got it, we got the air bridge, come find out the air bridge is bringing stuff here and giving it to private companies to sell back to the highest bidder. That is a gross injustice for the intent of what the federal government should be doing. And I'm telling you, FEMA got some good people in it. But something politically has happened and pulled strings at FEMA and have changed the way their own standard operating procedures on their website say they're supposed to be operating. Something is terribly wrong, and I hope the president get this fixed, because it's going to put our nation further and further at risk as this thing gets worse before it gets better. They need to fix the supply chain, and my recommendation to him is to give the Department of Defense a larger role in managing these supplies and getting them where they need to go. Have the National Guard put 2 non-commissioned officers or lieutenants in every hospital, get the count, report that to the governor, and get how many days of supply in each hospital, and get some discipline in the system. And every piece of PPE, or equipment come into the country is then taken control by the government and handed over to the military for distribution as described by the National Command Authority.
That is a very, very different picture than what we have here, but more similar to what happened when you were in Katrina and able to get supplies into that ravaged city of New Orleans. Lieutenant General Russell Honore, great pleasure. Thank you so much for your time tonight.
Test, 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 wear your mask. Thank a doctor and a nurse. God bless you.
God bless.